Hello everyone, how you doing? I hope you are all well. Thank you again for clicking on my channel and indeed this video. Why not, whilst you're here, press that subscribe button and that notification bell. Your support means so much to me. This time I am joined by the hilarious Gavin Webster, known for being a team captain in Channel 4's Does Doug Know and for touring the all major comedy circuit in the UK. Gavin, thank you for joining me. Are you well?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Yes.
Good, good. What got you into comedy and what are some of your favourite shows that you've worked on?
I got into comedy by accident, really. I was doing, I met an old friend that I used to work in factories with one summer, and he was going to a new material night in Baker, and we went to watch it. I've never seen a comedy show before. This is in 1992. And then he said, we're going to do the next one. And I went, no, I'm not going to do that. And he says, yeah, we're going to do a double act. And so I was like, if you like, in inverted commas, the straight man. He was the one with the funny lines. And anyway, we did that. It was awful. And then he said, we'll do it next month. And I think we did it the month after. And then I wasn't keen on doing it, but he said, I'm starting my own club now. I'm starting my own comedy night in Gateshead at the Barley Moor, which isn't there now. And would you like, you can do a spot on there. So I did my own spot on there. This is like the beginning of 93. Anyway, 6 months later, he didn't do it anymore, and I was carrying on doing it because he sort of got bored with it, even though he was the one that was very keen in the first place. And I just sort of gradually got better at it. So it was real by accident, and it wasn't a thing that I wanted to do, to be quite honest with you. But there you go. It's funny how life works out, isn't it?
Certainly is. I bet you're pleased you did it now.
I am, yes, I am. It's that anyone could do, even though it was really for him. But it worked out really well. It was that chance encounter. Worked out really well, yeah.
Oh, amazing. And just how difficult is touring the comedy circuit, would you say?
It doesn't get any easier. I'm 53 now, and it gets hard, especially driving late at night. That's the hard part of it, really. Driving, and there's sometimes the loneliness because you're on your own a lot of the time.
Yeah.
On your own, driving around. But, that's me putting a negative spin on it. The other sides of it are still really good. It's great. It's a great job, really. But that's the hard part of it, the driving and the late nights on the road and, checking in to hotels on your own. And that's the only thing that I find a bit of a drag, really.
Yeah, I could imagine. And how do you come up with new material, keeping things fresh?
I don't know whether I'm like other comics. I like to rehearse. So what I do is I either book a rehearsal room or I go to places, get into a book a room, or sometimes I do it in the house, but I try not to do my work at home really. And what I do is I have some notes and I just talk to the wall, just do as though I'm doing a gig. Talk to the wall, and then I think of funny ideas and I write them down. And I keep doing that. So I do it in a very what's the word? A very spoken word type way, if you know what I mean, rather than being a writer. I do it verbally. I do it by talking. So to try and make it as conversational as possible. So that's what I do. I tend to work to a wall, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that's amazing. It's different. It is different because you normally would say like a lot of I went to see Chris Ramsey when he did the arena back in 2018, 19, one of those two. And I know he was talking all about when he went to Asda. I think that was one of the early jokes he made in the show when he was saying about a lad went in with a pizza and he measured the circumference of a pizza, and like just little things like that when you're out and about. Do you have like a phone on you that you type little notes in what you see when you're out and about?
Yeah, I do. I do all that. You go through stages in your career where you don't do that because you get the hump with it a bit. But then you go back to it, and I still do. I still put stuff in my phone. It used to be a notebook, but now I put it in my phone. And because you never know where something money is gonna spring from. So you would write it down as such. So no, I haven't altered that. I'll still do that.
It is brilliant when you see comedians. The first thing to say, well, I seen this quote the other day. You're like, this is going to be good.
Well, yeah, well, great things can happen. Obviously, then you've got the benefit of lying as well, because that's all part of the art form, you know. Lying, exaggerating, and all that. You know, it's all part of the game.
It's brilliant, though. That's brilliant. Good bit of insight there as well. Now, recently, Kaylee, my girlfriend, and I, we went up to Edinburgh to the stand, just like the one in Newcastle. Now, there's a Red Raw night. I don't know if you're aware about this, but it's on a Monday night in Edinburgh. On a Tuesday night, it's up in Glasgow. And then on a Wednesday night, we have ours in Newcastle. And that happens every week. And what it is it's only a £5 to go. So if you're ever in Newcastle and you want to go and see some brand new comedians or established comedians trying out new material, it's on a Wednesday night. I think it's always open about 7:30, and its show starts at 8:30. But get there nice and early if you want a seat. Not that we're trying to advertise the stand or anything like this, but it is a really good little idea. And I was talking to the last behind the bar in Edinburgh when I was up there, and she said, well, the reason why you have yours on a Wednesday night, we have ours on a Monday night, and Glasgow have theirs on a Tuesday night, is so the comedians have got a chance to kind of already tour, so they can do the Monday, the Tuesday and the Wednesday in a 3-day week, and then kind of see how it goes for them, especially if they're brand new to it all. But obviously you are kind of told that there are going to be new people in here, so to kind of be nice. You can't heckle them or anything like that. There's loads of rules you get when you go in. But what would you say, Gav, to a first-time comedian as they're about to walk out on stage?
Oh, what would I say to a first-time comedian? Well, it's not really down to me to give too much advice. It's very much if they really want to do it, should go and do it. And you know, the best advice I could give any comedian is to do as many gigs as you possibly can. Don't just try it once. If you're really serious about it, go and have a go and try it so many different ways and try it a lot, and don't get put off if it doesn't work out, because you just haven't found your style or your audience or your shtick yet. You know, you haven't found the way you need to do it. Everybody's different, so you just need to do it a lot of times and learn.
I could imagine, especially if you're walking out to an audience and you're getting no laughs, it could be very disheartening. But like you see, you don't know. It could just be the type of audience that's in the room of the night.
Absolutely, and you know, we've all had that, and we still get it. You get no laughs. It's what makes it exciting as an art form. You can still do awful. You can't. There might be some sections of the code you just can't connect with, or you make a mistake, or whatever. You have to learn to be able to get better at that, obviously. But I would never tell an actor to get disheartened if it's not worked out on the first night. And in fact, the best acts, the most interesting comedians over the years, the most, you know, avant-garde, different type comedians, they're always the ones that struggled in their first years, because it was such a unique, interesting thing they were doing. A lot of mainstream audiences wouldn't take to it. So there's a chance you might be dreadful, but there's a chance you might be a brilliant comic if you're doing badly at first, if you know what I mean.
How would you say comedy's changed for you as well, Gavin? Obviously, especially from the early 90s when you were starting out to now, where the world's kind of gone a little bit PC. A lot of it you hear before comedy shows, the world's gone mad. You feel sorry for comedians these days. What's your opinion on that?
On that side of it, well, they were saying that 30 years ago, so you know, I don't know what the big difference is really. There's and also, you know, long before I started doing comedy, I'm talking about the 60s and 70s, there was a different set of moral standards then. You couldn't blaspheme, for example. You know, you couldn't say, "Oh my God," or something like that. That was taking the Lord's name in vain. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's true. You couldn't swear whatsoever on television back in the old days. You know what I mean? There was not even male swearing was allowed. You couldn't refer to ladies being pregnant. You couldn't talk about people allegedly having sex and things like that. So that's one set of moral standards. Now there's a different set of moral standards these days. But if you're a good comic, you'll get round it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I've seen a lot of like the old British comedy, comedy shows, like especially Only Fools from the 80s, but even going earlier than that, I'm a massive Steptoe and Son fan as well. And I think the most kind of swearing you'll get out of that is bleeding. I think that's the only word they'll say. A lot of bleeding, like you say. Thinking back to that, you'll never hear any swearing in that kind of program.
No, you couldn't do it. It wasn't allowed. There would have been gatekeepers within the BBC. That's what they call them. Gatekeepers within the BBC. They'll be checking over the script, and they would say, "No, you've got to take that out. You can't do that." So obviously, gradually things change because that's how society changes. But people that think that it's just a thing now, that's quite naive on their part, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And one of the biggest comedies involving three Geordie treasures, possibly even national treasures, in Tim Healy, Kevin Whately, and of course Oz. Yes, Jimmy Neal. Of course, I'm talking about Auf Wiedersehen, Pet. Well, you're a massive fan of it, and what did you think of the show?
I'm so old. I remember the first series, So the first series of Auf Wiedersehen, Pet was terrific. It was a game changer in terms of comedy. It was comedy drama really, but they had a massive audience on a Friday night. There was only 4 channels then. It was terrific writing from Dick Clement and Ian Lefrenny, and it catapulted those 3 aforementioned alongside Timothy Spall and the other ones, Pat Roach and Gary Holton and what was Mocky called?
Chris Fairbank. My mind was ticking there as well.
They became stars as well, and it was a huge show. I mean, people like Ray Winston were on that show, and people like that. It was terrific. I never thought the second series was quite as good. It was all right, and then when they did them in the 90s, and that the BBC, it was. I think it was done by then. That's my own opinion, but the first series was terrific. It was a wonderful show, really well written and really well acted, and it deserves all the plaudits it got.
See, this is going to make you laugh and possibly even surprise you, Gavin. So I only started watching Auf Wiedersehen, Pet in lockdown. So I'm only 26, so it was out well before I was born, but I only started it in lockdown. So I literally watched the first series, I think, so I was at Tesco at the time, so the first 3 months of the first lockdown I started it, and I was like watching it on YouTube, because I had every episode on YouTube then, but they don't have it on now at all.
Do they not?
But I was like, oh yes, I can watch all these now, it's something to watch, it's something to do. I was gutted when it was finished.
They're long episodes, well under an hour.
Yeah.
So the good long episodes too. It was terrific. Yeah, 1983, I think it was.
The first series, yeah. And especially like when you were saying as well, Gateshead's got the pub called the Barley Moor, which is quite cool. The fact, obviously, that was the name of the pub, I think, in the second series when they were over in Derbyshire, when they were working on the manor. So that's quite a cool little link.
I didn't know that. I think
it was called the Barley Moor, where that miserable fella worked in.
Yeah, Arthur Pringle.
That's his name. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
And obviously on the back of... I'm sorry.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say, on the back of, obviously, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, became effectively Sunday for Sammy, which obviously was hosted by Tim Healy and obviously Jimmy Neal, but he was only ever seen in the first couple, because I've watched all the DVDs of them. Obviously, the first 2 of those in 2000, 2002 weren't televised, but from 2004, which was at the City Hall in Newcastle, that one was, and he was in that one, and I think he was in the 2006 one when it moved to the Sage for one series, but when it come back to the City Hall, as Tim Healy quite rightly said, it was too posh for them. He was never to be seen again. Any ideas why that was?
Yeah, I have an idea, but I don't know whether I can see it.
Ah, right. There we go. So we're still none the wiser. But what was it like performing on Sunday for Sammy for you?
Well, I did it many, many years ago. I can't remember which year it was. It may have been 2004 with the lads from the Viz. We did a sketch, which was good fun. But then years later, I think you said it was 2012. I think it must have been that year. I did stand up on there, and it was part of the sketch, and that was terrific. And there's some of that's on YouTube, and it was a great moment to see the City Hall, albeit on somebody else's show, not your own, do stand up there. It was a terrific thing to do, and they're all very nice. The people that work there, they're all very friendly, and it was they were a great bunch of people to work with.
But not only that, though, obviously it was celebrating home effectively, isn't it? And being a comedian, you travel all the time. It must be quite nice to just come back home on a Sunday night and just go, I'm home around all these different, like, talented people. I bet it was quite nice feeling that.
Well, it was. It was quite surreal, really, because obviously some of them, you remember from television when you were young, and then you're working with them. But that's always a bit odd too, But you have to be professional and still do the job in hand and still do a good job, because obviously you could end up being a bit embarrassing and being a bit rubbish. So you still have that in mind. But there were two shows as well, because there was a matinee show and an evening show. So there's no rest for you as you do it. And I think the same night I had a show, had a gig on at the Stand that night on the Sunday night. So you left the City Hall doing, say, the 2,200 people twice over, so that's 4,500 people, and then I walked down the Stand and there was 18 people there.
Wow.
you brought down to earth with a bump, you know what I mean?
But I bet it was still nice, though.
Oh, it was all right. It's the nature of what you do, but you know what I mean? It was like Alan Shearer just doing a double up finishing for the tune and then playing for Peter Stallington or something.
And then how did you get into playing the guitar as well?
Oh, I played the guitar since I was about 14 or something. My mum and dad got us a guitar for my birthday, my 14th birthday, so that would be probably 1983. And I've messed about on other guitars before, so I played the guitar badly and played in a couple of bands and all that. But then when I did the stand-up, I mainly played the ukulele with the stand-up, but bring the guitar out for some songs. But I'm not a very good guitar player, in all honesty. I'm just a bad rhythm guitarist, really. But you can get by. You can write songs, comedy songs, and all that. So that's how I got into guitar.
I think the thing with comedy and playing music, though, I think is the music doesn't have to be amazing as long as you get your jokes with your music, alongside it as a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever makes them laugh, that's fine, and you can kind of mask over the music. Really, depends on what you want to do, really, with it. But yes, you're essentially right there.
Now, I remember 2016 there was a massive hype around the Northeast. Daniel Blake was a massive film that had just come out. It was all over the cinemas, and everybody around here was getting all excited about it. Everybody saying, have you seen Daniel Blake yet? What was that like to work on, and can you tell me a bit more about the role that you played?
It was a great thing to work on, because I had to audition for it, and it was an unusual audition because Ken Loach, the director, doesn't do auditions like other people do. The first. I think this is why it bamboozled a lot of proper actors. So he got me in, and he just asked what I did, and I told him I was a stand-up comedian. He liked comics, I got tipped off about that. And he asked me about my life and what I do and how exciting it was. And so I like football, and I'm a fan of Newcastle United, and he just wanted to know about my life, and I was just quite laid back with him. I didn't try and give him a CV and tell him the things I'd done and all that, and how allegedly good I was. I just sort of had a chat with him. So they said he wants to see you again, and then I went to see him again, and he asked us to do some improvising, doing some acting, doing a bit of improvising about things around the table, and I must have impressed, because funny enough, I improvised with lady called Sharon Percy, who she ended up getting a job on it as well. She was the lady in the Social Security office that was asking Dan to jump through hoops, and she's quite aggressive with it and all that. And I was the part of Joe made from the sawmill. So we both got parts out of it, and albeit mine was a relatively small part, but it was a few days on set, and it was good. It was good fun to do, and we'd never done a film before. Me and Dave John, who did Dan, so we were asking the most naive questions on the first day about his camera and how they were working, because we'd never worked with anything like that before. So we looked a little bit like kids caught in headlights, really. You know, we were just amazed at how this was all going on. We soon got round it, and we soon started to learn how it worked as the film went on, and of course it became a massive hit and won lots of awards and world over, you know.
Well, congratulations on your role there, mate, and on all them awards that you would have got as well.
I didn't really pick up the awards, to be fair. You know, all the awards we won, it wasn't down to me.
No, but you were still part of it, mate.
Yeah, the film did win a lot of awards, so it was terrific to keep hearing about it, reading about it, hearing about it on the news, and it was quite a surreal moment.
Oh, that's lovely. Now, I know you're a massive fan of your football, and I know you follow the tune all over the place. How are you feeling after last night's 2-0 loss to Liverpool, and how are you finding the season so far?
The season's been amazing. You can't complain about what's happened this season. It's been much better than I thought. Last night was a bit of a blow, but it had to happen at some point. We ran out of luck a little bit. But, that's the way it goes. Whatever happens now in the end of it, it's been a great season. At least we're not at this point where we've got more than enough points to stay up. And it's only February. We made sure we were safe from staying up in mid-January. You compare that to last season. Been terrific. So I'm a happy man on that one.
And then what are your thoughts for next week down at Wembley on the 26th of February, depending on when you're listening to this? The big one, the Carabao Cup final, Newcastle United versus Manchester United. Have you got yourself a ticket? Are you going down there?
No, I'm working actually. I'm doing a fan park up in the University of Northumbria.
Oh, lovely.
It wasn't really fair to get signed for me to get a ticket when I'm not a season ticket holder, because the nature of my job over the years it's never been beneficial for me to be a season ticket holder. So that's fair enough. People who've had season tickets for the last few years, they deserve this one. You know what I mean? I had my time going lost. That was the 80s. Not a very good decade to go a lot, but in terms of how well or not well they did. But that was my time, and this time's for the young people, and I hope they all enjoy it. And that personally, honestly, I don't think we'll win, but you never know.
You never do. I mean, Nick Pope last night was a massive blow getting sent off, and you've got to feel for the young lad, because I think he would have definitely done Man United some damage, especially if it goes to them dreaded penalties. But now we've just all got to put our hope in Carriers.
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows how it's going to pan out? But I never thought of that penalties. But there you go.
I don't think anybody thinks that far before a final, do they?
No, not really. Not really. I'm of the opinion that I've seen we're being humiliated at Wembley. In my lifetime, Newcastle have been humiliated at Wembley 3 times and in fact 4 times. 4 times. FA Cup final 74, the Charity Shield in 96, the FA Cup final in 98, the FA Cup final in 99. Completely humiliated every time, didn't score 1 goal. We did all right in the League Cup final in 76, just lost 2-1. And we went to Wembley in 2000, FA Cup semi-final, where we lost 2-1 narrowly to Chelsea. But it's not been a good place, Wembley, for us. It really hasn't.
Oh, let's hope. Our luck changes next week.
I hope so. I hope so. What I was going to say was, if we don't get the first thing is to not get humiliated, is to not get hammered. If we stay in the game, we've got a chance. You know?
Certainly have.
If we lose an early goal, if we stay in the game, there's always a chance we can equalise. And that's what I'm hanging me. That's what I'm pinning me hopes on.
I always used to laugh when my dad used to say to us, he went, I don't care if it stays 0-0 at the 90 plus 4th minute, as long as we get the ball in the back of that net in that minute, I don't care.
You've got to think about it.
He always used to say that. So, back to you then, Gavin. What gigs have you got coming up?
Where am I? Well, I've got this cup final thing coming up. I'm working in Patrick on Tuesday. I've got a few days off, and then I'm in Inverness on Friday. I'm down in the Midlands on Saturday. Derbyshire, I think, New Mills. And then Sunday, I've got this fan park thing for the League Cup final. That's the ones coming up in the very short term. Obviously, I've got lots of other circuit stuff going off after that. Oh,
lovely, mate. Well, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And just before I let you crack on with the rest of your Sunday, as I was saying, is there anything else that you would like to mention that I haven't previously mentioned?
Well, if anybody would like to watch me sitcom on Amazon Prime, you can. That's my sitcom that I made called I've Got a Job for You, Gav, where I've been part of a taxi driver. And it's free. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's free with Amazon Prime, so just need to go to that. I've Got a Job for You, Gav. There's 3 long episodes on there, and it would be good if you could have a watch of that. Check that out.
There we go. And is there anything that you'd like to mention, like your social media or anything like that, so people can keep up to date with everything that you've got coming on?
Well, Gavin Webster, UK. I suppose there's all the other ones. There's Instagram and Twitter and all that. You can find me, for all those, I'm sure. Just type my name in there.
Brilliant. And Gavin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem at all, mate. I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you.